Hi everyone, it's Sarah from stampingwithlove.net. Thank you very much for joining me again today. So as promised, I'm bringing you another project today that's all about the new Snowflake Showcase, which is a limited edition set that's only going to be available to buy until the end of this month, the end of November. Oh my goodness, I'm just so in love with this set. It's really, really lovely to work with. And as you can see, I've basically made these 4 cards here with blended backgrounds, and the snowflakes, the stunning snowflakes on the front, are the biggest die in the Snowfall Thinlits dies. If I bring them in, I'll show it to you. It's this one here. That's the die we're going to be using. And I've basically cut the snowflakes from some brand new beautiful velvet paper that comes as part of a suite. It comes packaged like this in a 12 by 12 pack. They're called white velvet sheets, and there's 2 sheets in one pack, so similar packaging to our foil sheets and our glimmer paper. And yeah, my snowflake has been cut from that beautiful velvet paper, and I've just stuck it up on dimensionals on the front. But today I thought I would show you how I created the background to these cards, and I thought I'd do a purple one to finish off my sort of rainbow effect. So I'll show you exactly what I'm using today. So the colours I'm going to be using are, working from light through to darkest, Highland Heather, Gorgeous Grape, Rich Raspberry and Blackberry Bliss. And the pieces of card that I'm using are, I've got a Blackberry Bliss base, and that's been cut from a piece of A4 cardstock, cut in half vertically and scored in half to make my card blank. And then I've got a matte piece that's been cut in 1/4 of an inch on both sides, shorter. And then my top panel, which is the one we're going to be working on today, which again has been cut in 1/4 of an inch shorter on each side. I'm going to be starting with blending the background, and I'm bringing in my sponge daubers. Now how I like to work is, I've got a sponge dauber for every single colour in the Stampin Up colour palette. I just find it easier to work that way, and I do a lot of blending using my daubers, so it's totally worth it for me. There's no set pattern to this. I just tended to start with my lighter ones. I can't focus some of the lighter points inside and come in darker on the outside. That was the basic pretext, but apart from that, there's no set pattern to this at all. So I'm going to just get all my inks ready. I don't know how messy this is going to get. I imagine really quite messy, because I'm using Rich Raspberry and Blackberry Bliss. Could be a disaster waiting to happen, but I'm going to be starting with my Highland Heather, and I'm going to literally just go into my ink pad, brush some off, and I'm not going to go press too hard to start with, because I don't want to get lots and lots of start and stop points, which is easy to do with a dauber. And I'm just going to brush little parts over the front of my cardstock like that. Because this is the lightest colour in my palette, I can afford to be a bit more liberal, because I can always sort of blend the darker colours into it if I want to get it darker in those areas afterwards. So I'm going to be quite generous with the Highland Heather. Okay, let's probably leave it like that. And next I'm going to use my Gorgeous Grape. I'm just trying to get sort of the colour kind of evenly spread around. So a bit of gorgeous grape to fill in the dots, a bit of Highland Heather to fill in the dots, just so it's not all focused on one colour in one area. A little bit down here. Moving on to my rich raspberry. This is quite an intense colour, as you know, so I'm not going to be too harsh with it. I'm using quite a light touch with it. And then obviously my final colour is going to be my Blackberry Bliss, and that's going to kind of, it's going to kind of be the most intense of all the colours. So I think I'm going to go back in with my Highland Heather and just fill in some of these blanks, or the spaces where it's looking a little bit paler. And it doesn't matter when you do this, you could do this at the end. I'm just going to do it now, so I've got a bit better idea of where the colours are going. Okay, so that's basically my piece of white cardstock completely blended in now. So with all the three colours, and now I'm coming in with the Blackberry Bliss. And I'm focusing on the outer parts of the cardstock. And I think I'm pretty happy with that, to be honest. I might just do come in once more with the Highland Heather and just go over those paler areas again. You could leave it lighter if you like that look, if you like the intense around the outside and the really pale in the inside. Personally, I like it to meet somewhere in the middle. Okay, so that's my blended piece of cardstock. I'll leave the Blackberry Bliss out. I'm going to stamp my sentiment while I've got it open and put all of those ones away. I'm just going to put that over to one side. Honestly, every time I use Blackberry Bliss, it's a complete a complete mess, so I'm really hoping I don't mess up my snowflake when I come to that part. I'm just going to grab my sentiment tag, and that's been cut using the Merry Christmas Thinlits dies. Love this label die. And I'm using the sentiment that's come from Snow is Glistening, and it's this one here, Sending a Blizzard of Wishes for a Wonderful Season. So I'm going to just go into my Blackberry Bliss. I've just re-inked this Blackberry Bliss, so I'm hoping it's not too splodgy. I might just try that. Not too bad, actually. I think I will stamp it on my piercing mat for a bit of a cushion. Okay. I'll just leave that over to one side to dry. So bringing my blended background piece in again, I'm now going to create the white flecks. If I can find one of the cards, so I can bring back that one. The white flecks all over the background, kind of in this particular card, looks like just a really pretty snowy flurry of snowfall really. So to do that, I'm taking a small clear block. This is a size B, but it doesn't matter what size you use. And I've got my Whisper White craft ink, and this is a very mucky, a very mucky ink pad. I've got a new one on order actually. And to do this, I'm literally going to take my block and I'm going to stamp it straight into my craft ink, like this, so I get that ink transferred onto the block. And then I've got my aqua painter, and for those of you who haven't used one before, I love this. I love aqua painters. They're really great fun. You fill the barrel with water, and then when you give it a squeeze, the water comes out the brush tip. So it's great for watercolouring or getting an effect like I'm about to. And I'm just going to give my barrel a little squeeze to release the water, and I'm able to then mix that with my craft ink on the block. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give it a flick all over my background. So you might want to clear things out the way so they don't get covered. And I'm just going to give it a tap. And you can just keep going until you're happy with the amount of white you've got on your card front. I love the effect. I love the way the water kind of bleaches that ink, and you've got different gradients from the blended cardstock of colour coming through the white. I think it's really pretty. Probably enough. Just gonna wipe that off. Okay, so that's my background done, and I'm going to just put that over there to dry, move my messy block out of the way, and I'm going to bring in my big shots. Check your hands. My hands are a little bit mucky, but I'm going to take a chance here and I hope that it doesn't transfer to my snowflake. And I'm bringing in, what I've done is I've cut down my velvet sheets into strips. I like to cut them down into strips so that it's sort of easier to access for me. And then I'm taking my largest Snowfall Thinlet die, and I'm just going to place that cutting edge down onto my velvet paper. And I'm just going to cut that piece off. lay that down onto my big shot. Got my magnetic platform, lower cutting plate, velvet sheet, die and top cutting plate, and just run that through. I'm going to do it a couple of times. If I tag over there, I'm just going to get rid of this scrap paper. And I'm bringing in my sponge pad and die tool, die brush tool. And roll over on my snowflake. And then you should be able to just pull it away. I'm just going to bring in my piercing tool and just poke through the edges there just to release the die cut from the die. You could also use a precision faceplate for cutting out the dies. I know some people like to do that. I just find that you don't actually need to. Okay, and that's my snowflake. So stunning. I love these dies, they're just gorgeous. So I'm going to put that over there and bring back in my card base. This obviously isn't fully dry. You could leave it to dry properly for a few hours. I'm just going to do this now for speed for the video, and I'm going to take my Tombow and I'm going to lay that down onto my first Whisper White matte layer. And then flip that over and do exactly the same on the back of that side. And attach that to my Blackberry Bliss base. And the nice thing about Tombow is you can just shift it about until you're happy that it's in the right place. Give that a press. And then I'm going to come in with my, lost my dimensionals, here they are. And I'm using a mixture of mini dimensionals and normal Stampin' dimensionals. And I'm going to just, on the back of the velvet snowflake, put the little ones on every single point. And I'm just going to put a couple in the centre of the big ones because I don't want any sinking of my snowflake. And I'm also going to pop the sentiment up on dimensionals as well. I'll put my sentiment on first. Like that. So I've just removed all the backings off of that, and I'm going to place my snowflake there. And then just to finish off, I'm coming in with one of these beautiful snowflake trinkets that's part of this the suite. It's got a little rhinestone in the centre, and I'm just going to attach that with a glue dot onto my snowflake, and that's it. Card's all done. And really a relatively easy background to put together, but the velvet snowflake just pops beautifully against that background. I think it's a really pretty card. So if I bring in my other ones, there they are. So I hope you enjoyed the project today. If you want to have a look at my blog about all the colours that I used on the other blended backgrounds, if you'd like to have a go at them, my blog is stampingwithlove.net. And of course, if you're interested in purchasing any of the products that I've used in the video today, or would like to know more about them, you can also find out about them at my online shop at the blog. So thank you very, very much for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed the project, and I'll see you very soon. Bye.